my name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And Twitter is a terrible place. I think we can all agree Twitter is an absolutely terrible, I would say, evil, destructive place that's really very, very attractive to psychopaths. People who are out, not well, I think. Psychopaths maybe, but sociopaths certainly. People who have no ability to interact and act like a human being, right? So Twitter's really, really, really popular with those people. So strangely enough, it was Twitter that provided an answer to who these people are in a quite wonderful, brilliant way. So we're going to look at a couple of tweets from a gentleman by the name of Gareth Roberts. Gareth Roberts is a fantastic Doctor Who writer. I really like Gareth Roberts. He's been around like the Doctor Who fandom scene since I was, right? He's about the same age as me. Been writing great Doctor Who comic strips and books and TV shows for years and years and years, up until was about 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, when he was cancelled. Now, why was he cancelled? He's a very, very prominently gay guy, which is kind of funny. You say, I'm a prominent gay. No, he was, but he was very active in the gay community, especially in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, and he's a very noticeable voice there. I think, like many people in that world, the LGBT world, they're a little bit taken aback at how the LGB bit has become a little bit sidelined, pushed to the side, and told to shut up by the T's. The T's have taken over the universe, and so he spoke about that, got him cancelled. He was in an anthology of Doctor Who stories, so they unceremoniously ripped him out of that, and he hasn't done any work since. Why? Because he's cancelled, because we live in a world of complete intolerance by these awful, awful, terrible people. Anyway, so he tweeted something about it yesterday, which we're going to look at. And boy, did he nail it with one picture. And it tells us everything we need to know about who these awful, terrible people are. Before we get into it, can you hit the like button? That'd be freaking awesome. That'd be fan-dabby double dozy. Can you hit the share button? Yeah, share me around, baby. Share me around. But mostly hit that subscribe button. I tell you, YouTube, they have to work hard to keep my subscribers down. They took another 5 subscribers off me just after I got off. Whenever I hit a new a round number, right? So I got to 3,060. I'm like, well, that's not going to last. I said to myself, and sure enough, five subscribers are gone as of this morning. And they really do work hard. I mean, if I honestly, if they didn't keep unsubscribing people, I would probably have about 10,000 subscribers by now, just because I see how quickly my channel grows. So anyway, please forgive the kvetch. Yeah, I told you a bit of a Jewish word. Kvetch, please forgive the kvetch. But could you hit the subscribe button? That'd be great if you're subscribed. Please make sure you're still subscribed, because you're probably not. And like, share, subscribe, comment. Comment's also really good. That confuses YouTube. Because, I'm deplorable. I'm the one of the worst people ever, because I kind of agree with Gareth Roberts, to YouTube. But I get very good interaction. So, it's like, share, subscribe, comment. All this is really, really good. And of course, don't be shy to check out my Indiegogo. 2 freaking awesome comic books. Graphic novels. I don't mind the word graphic novel. People are kind of bit po-faced about them now. I that's kind of what they started calling them when they came out when I was a kid. This is when they started. So 2 awesome graphic novels. We got biblical Bible stories that aided the creationists. Rashness and Rogues were completely biblically accurate, not preachy at all. I've written through it, so I'm a little bit biased, but it's awesome. It's freaking awesome. 220 pages long. And then we got The Imperium, a love letter to telefancy of the 1960s. I wrote this one, and artwork by Dominic Radjo, who is awesome. I freaking love Dominic Radjo. Is a love letter to telefancy of the 1960s. Think I should just look at the cover. All the characters are on the cover. James Bond, Doctor Who, Emmett Till, the Black Slab from 2001, and a monkey in a spacesuit. A little bit of prisoner action thrown in on the new pages they're putting in, because the campaign did well. So we're adding in 5 pages. The new pages that they're adding in is like lots of Thunderbirds action, bit of cat. Oh yeah, just the 1960s TV. It's stuff that I just really like. And yeah, you get a whole bunch of extras. Go check it out. It's freaking awesome. Listen, you'll enjoy looking at the campaign page. Anyway, fine. So let's start over here with this again. Amazingly, Gareth Roberts on Twitter. It was Twitter that showed us the problem with the problem with the people who really like Twitter. So first, he comes across this thing called "It Is Obscene: A True Reflection in 3 Parts," and this is by somebody whose name I cannot in a million years pronounce. So of course I'll give it a go. Right on, you know. Her name is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I was going to say your name and apologize, but I don't want to say it again because I'm going to get it wrong again. So he wrote, "This is brilliant and also beautifully written. It's basically a treatise on the evil that has infected our world." Right. So here, this is a part that he pulled out. This is the first part he pulled out. The second part he pulled out, I think, is much more telling. But let's read this together. Well, actually, I'll read it. You don't have to read it with me. I can't hear you. This is a recording. Yeah. There are many social media savvy people who are choking on sanctimony and lacking in compassion. Oh, have we not all bumped into these people, right? Do we not all know exactly who they're talking about? Who can fluidly pontificate on Twitter about kindness, but are unable to actually show kindness. Like, exactly. Of all the cancellations going, look, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. All the that's where my brain is for examples. There's a guy called John Barrowman who's being cancelled. I think a lot of gay people being cancelled right now. It's an interesting new development. Because he used to prank a lot on set. It was a prank, I think. He would get his dick out a lot and wave it around. It's kind of like a known thing. Like, people always talked about it. And then when this other guy got cancelled, and again, with no jurisprudence whatsoever, he denies all the allegations, and he which are basically allegations that he made people feel bad, right? But that's essentially the entirety. There's one real criminal allegation, but then there's, I would say, strong evidence to disprove it. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Why there is no compassion whatsoever for any of these people under any circumstances. Their lives must be destroyed forever. And then just consequence culture. No, it's not. It's not. It's akin to the Salem witch trials. It's the consequence of having evil people been given power that they should never, ever have in a million years. And if you've seen the thumbnail, we saw what they did with that power. Essentially destroy the world. At least Fandom. I think it's moved on to the world now, right? Who can feel important about kindness are unable to actually show kindness. Yeah, they can't. The next quote is really going to go into who they are. People whose social media lives are case studies in aridity. People for whom friendship and expectations of loyalty and compassion and support no longer matter. They never did matter. I don't think, I think all they care about is alliances. If you ally with them, then you're one of the good guys. Whatever you do is fine. If you're not allied with them, you're one of the evil people. And they will attack you on the flimsiest content and pretend it's your fault, right? They will totally say, listen, it's not my fault, you're a garbage human being. It's really disgusting. Honestly, I'm a religious guy, I'm a spiritual guy, which very rarely goes together. Most religious people are not spiritual. This is talking about somebody who knows on the inside. Most religious people aren't spiritual. They're like real douchebags. Most. That's my impression. But this goes across all strata of society. So yeah, they all they care about is allegiances. People who claim to love literature, those messy stories of our humanity, but also monomaniacally obsessed with whatever prevailing ideological orthodoxy. Yeah, I mean, like 5 years ago, it was same-sex marriage. Do you remember same-sex marriage? And people who were opposed to it said, well, listen, I think that might be a bit of a slippery slope. And then they say, liar! Bigot! You liar! And it turned out it was a bit of a slippery slope. And again, listen, I've got nothing against somebody who's gay. Look, I get sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. That's and be happy. And that's generally my way. Sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. It's none of my business, right? It's genuinely none of my business. And it seems to be a strange thing to put every value judgment of another human being on, right? I have a strong preference or a need to sleep with this gender. It's fine. No, I don't care. I really don't care. But I remember it was shoehorned into everything. There was a Doctor Who story which was pretty good. Where at the end it was Nixon in the Sixers was talking to this FBI agent. Who said, I want to marry the somebody, but you won't like it. He says, what's the problem? Is she a Negro? Because I'm more open-minded than you would think. And then the guy answers back, yes, he is. And like, for God's sake, in 1960, wherever it was, 65, the idea of same-sex marriage was an absurdity. Honestly, in 85. It was a 90. I think in 95, it was an absurdity. It was an absolute absurdity. It was like, it would be like a carrot marrying a blender. Yeah, fine, good luck. Yeah, but it was the thing. It became the thing. It was the prevailing ideological orthodoxy. And again, listen. If I know nothing against anyone, especially if somebody wants to get married, go ahead. But listen, I should be honest, I am not happy with same-sex marriage, but again, purely from my bonkers religious point of view, which is it says in like the holy books of Kabbalistic texts that the reason that the flood was brought, if you believe in it, the reason the flood was brought was because of a corruption of marriage contracts. That people could marry things that were, like a man marrying a woman, or woman marrying a man. That was like the universal one. And then they said, no, you can marry other things. So it seems to be a very similar thing, and it's resulted in the destruction of the world. So listen, if my worldview is right, it may result in the destruction of the world, and this has seemed to have a very bad effect, right? It shouldn't have been that way. Same-sex marriage should just come, and everybody's like, yeah, free, and that should be it. But the trouble with progressives is they always need to progress, because it's never about the cause. It's about them. It's always about them. Again, once I get into the second thing he chose, it makes it much clearer. People demand that you denounce your friends and family on flimsy reasons in order to remain a member of the chosen Puritan class. And again, you do see that in the religious world. I think it would be a little bit disingenuous to pretend that you don't, because you absolutely do, and it's not good. So then he followed up with this, which is absolutely brilliant. So let's start with this thing. So this is a real dissection of who these people are. In certain young people today, like those two from my writing workshop, I noticed, and I noticed what I find increasingly troubling. Now, before we go into it, what he's going to say, or she's going to say, is, I think, entirely based on there being a generation or two of participation trophies, right? It robbed an entire generation of the ability to struggle, and without struggle, you can't grow, and basically, you're a bum at that point. When your life is utterly worthless, when you've done nothing with your existence, you know how utterly worthless you are. And so you will do anything to find self-worth, which is what's going on. So here, increase in drawing. A cold-blooded grasping, a hunger to take and take and take, but never give. It's because this is what they've been taught. This is what they've been taught from the first moment they could think that whatever they do, they must be putting on pedals. And why were they taught this? They were taught this by their idiot parents. Their idiot parents who were insanely selfish and want to feel good about themselves by having the most brilliant kid in the whole universe who could never, ever, ever do anything wrong. And you can't tell your kid, it's abuse. It's abuse if you tell my kid to hang up his coat or whatever he needs to. So, yeah, so they think the world is there for them to take and take and take. And they don't understand the idea of give. No, we've trained them to be sociopathically evil people. And, you know when we all stood around going, this is going to work out bad. Nobody knew how bad it was going to work out, right? And never give. A massive sense of entitlement. Again, you've been told that everything you do is perfect all your life and you can't have no consequence. You have no struggle in your life whatsoever. Yeah, you are going to have a massive sense of entitlement. An inability to show gratitude. You can only show gratitude if somebody's giving you something if you already own it. Like if somebody gives you a pen that you own, I mean, still I say thank you because somebody does something for you, but they can't really, but it's mine, everything. And they see everything as why? Again, they've been trained to think that everything is theirs. And anybody show and ease with dishonesty and pretension and selfishness. Yeah, because they don't care about anything other than feeling good about themselves, right? And they will say and do anything whatsoever so they can feel good about themselves, which mainly means they have to have causes that they can passionately rail against to show how virtuous they are. But they won't do anything of actual virtue. You know why? They won't do anything of any actual merit and ability because that takes work, effort, and adversity. And they cannot do that. Why? Because we trained them that way. Idiots that we were. We should, like the parents that said, oh no, little Timmy needs to be told good job no matter what happens. We should have this is what we should have done. This is what we should have done. I think it probably would have worked out much better as well. We should have got a sock. Just get your average sock, not one of those like little ankle socks. I never really like those. They're a real sock. And then you fill it full with human excrement, right? Actual poop into the sock, right? Twiddle it up, and then go to the face of this mother and father who demands that their kid gets whatever they want, whenever they want it, and repeatedly slap them in the face with the sock full of human shit, and tell them no. And listen, I'm joking. Don't do violence. But that probably would have been and not the kid, the parent. So even dishonesty and pretension, yes, that is couched in the language of self-care. Oh, you don't want me to, mental, my poor failing mental health, which is what they all do. There was this one guy who started this hate group. There's no other way to describe it. Hate group called Not My Doctor on Twitter, where they would spend the day, and they really would, they'll spend their days monitoring the communications of other people for anybody not liking the current era of Doctor Who, right? Because that's heresy that was heresy. And then they'll take whatever tweets and put them through a struggle session. And just like it's just a struggle session is something that from communist China, which they love. They absolutely love struggle sessions. And that's what they. But this guy was always. This is the guy who started this was exactly this person, right? Whenever he got called out on anything, he was like, "Oh, my mental health! You're attacking my mental health." When he spends his days like trying to get people to kill himself, and then they do anything to him. Much more. He's like, "Oh, my poor mental health." His poor mental health probably did take a bit of a drumming when it came out that he was a sex pest, and he himself was cancelled. It's always the way that they are whatever they say you are, right? So there's and it's incredible. All his cronies, all the other fan Twitterati, who were like best buddies with him 1 second, a minute later, I don't know him. Why? Because they have a complete ease with dishonesty and pretension and selfishness that is couched in the language of self-care. And expectation to always be helped and rewarded, no matter what, no matter whether deserving or not. Yeah, no, well, I don't care. You need to help somebody. If you don't help somebody, it's bad. That's why they're all they're all for illegal immigration. Why? Because if somebody wants something and they have to earn it, it's hard, and they don't want to be in that position themselves. They don't want to have to be in the hard position of earning something, right? They need to just be given something, and when somebody isn't just given something, even if they don't deserve it, even if all they have to do to be given it is say, "Could you line up here and use that door?" No. Anything like that is horrible. Because why? Because it's all about them. They might have to suffer. They may have to have some adversity. Language that is slick and sleek, but with little emotional intelligence. Yeah, that's true. An astonishing level of self-absorption. Yeah. They are the only people they can think about. An unrealistic expectation of puritanism from others. You know what? Yeah, they have to do whatever to stay within the peer group. But that's the only thing that matters. Staying in the good group, in the good group, and never be counseled and saying anything that will keep them there. Their protected status. And over-incentive, this is a huge one, and this is the one that's destroyed fandom. An overinflated sense of ability or talent where there is any at all. Yeah. So I think we've seen that with the comic book industry. They're talking about they're stopping work on new comics. Essentially, they're just going to be printing reprints. This Marvel and DC. This is what the new talent has done. The new talent is talentless. Why are they talentless? Because they can't work. Why can't they work? Why can't they struggle? Because we condition them from infancy that doing that is a bad thing. That's abhorrent to them. Right? That's why they can't. And what's the result? We got garbage. First we got garbage that are filled with their insane ideas on identity and politics, all of which are completely stupid and cannot stand up to any level of investigation whatsoever. Like none whatsoever. But that's the first thing. The second thing is they're garbage at their jobs. Like Star Trek Discovery is just very badly written. Doctor Who in the current era, very badly written. It's substandard. Have you ever read a comic by Vita Ayala, the one of the most employed people in the dying comic book industry? It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's bad on every conceivable level. It's unpublishably bad. Like I mean, look, what I read was a James Bond book. I've read a few of them, but they're all painful. One I read was a James Bond book, which the first crime was really making James Bond into this doofus secondary character that was openly hated by the main character, the stunning and brave woman. That was clearly modeled on Vita Ayala. That's her idealized self. But mostly the biggest problem is just the technical lack of proficiency. The scenes would be jumpy, and there would be no sense of flow, and it wouldn't make sense. And the dialogue, it just nothing about it said professional. And this is, I think, one of the top professionals, in the industry. I don't know where is in it all. An inability to apologize. Right. That's why you never apologize to them. Right. Never apologize. Truly and fully without justifications. Yeah, I remember this one guy, crazy person in the Not My Doctor group, harassed this wonderful woman off Twitter. Just said, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And then he tried to apologize and went on to blame her more for her evil associations. A passionate performance of virtue that is well executed in the public space of Twitter, but not in the intimate space of friendship. It's so true. It's so true. All these people, I keep advising them, go and help in a soup kitchen, but do it privately. Make sure do virtuous acts, but make sure nobody knows about it, right? That's what makes it hugely, hugely virtuous. And then this, if he finishes the paragraph saying, I find it obscene. So then, what made it really funny is the picture that he posted it with. So he had this, and he said, "Oh, hello there." So who's he? So hello there too. This group of people. This group of people. So who is this group of people? If you're a comic book reader and you don't know anything about Doctor Who, this is the Doctor Who milkshake photo. If you're a Doctor Who fan, don't know anything about comics, this is the Doctor Who milkshake photo. This is showing a new group of people coming in. There was a thing in Doctor Who magazine called the Time Team, where you had a group of 4 people of varying ages and backgrounds, and they would watch Doctor Who from the beginning, right? And they, each month in Doctor Who magazine, they'll have their review and their impressions of watching it as if it was the first time. And they went through the entire original run of 26-year history. It was really, and then they went through another run with a different team. And this was the third time team they brought on. Let's have a look at it in a little bit more detail, because it really is funny. So firstly, this was picked by this guy called Benjamin Cook, who is, in my opinion, king of the toxic fans. He is one. This is him in the middle. So you see, he looks like he's dressing like he's like 19. He's nearly 40. He's nearly 40. So the reason I mention that is I got into a spat with him once because he's an utter douchebag, in my opinion. Where he was virtue signaling about tea issues. He'll say, "Why is it that some women won't let trans women into gyms?" Wah! And so I saw it. I just tweeted back. Some women are uncomfortable being in private spaces with people with penises. Even women, even other women with penises, right? And that just sent him off. And so then he took one of my videos and edited it down. I mean, I scream a lot in my video, I'm sure you see. And then, "Look at you, you're nearly 50. So I said back to him, "Dude, you're nearly 40. Yeah, you're right, I'm nearly 50. I've basically finished paying my mortgage. I have a successful career. I have wonderful children. I have a stable marriage. If I look back at my life, if I get hit by lightning now, I'm going to go, that was a pretty good run. That was a pretty good run. I'm really, really happy with my life, right? My kids are wonderful. They're growing into adults, and I'm really, really proud of all of them, right? Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. The purpose of having kids is making good people. And I think, these are all very good people. So I'm like, yeah, my life, you arsehole, you're nearly 40. You're single. You've never had any kids. You've never done anything in your life. You've had so much more opportunity with the opportunities in your life than most people, and you've done so much less, right? So this has been good. He's king of he spent his life blocking people. He's one of these Twitterati people. So he also put in charge of finding the new time team. So this new time team, they range from age, 20 to 26, I think, is the oldest one, right? So basically, instead of having a diverse group of fans, they have a monoculture of fans. Everybody completely agrees with the same thing, this United Colors of Benetton. So, much like anything else in fandom, how long does that last for? About a year, and then cancelled. Why were they cancelled? Firstly, I think this more than anything else made it was a statement of intent, saying we do not want you old fans anymore. We want these new stunning and brave fans. This is what we want. We want the United Colors of Benetton. We want to be progressive. We're the greatest ever. So that's essentially what what was going on. And the same thing happened in comics, the same thing happened in Star Wars, the same thing happened in Star Trek. And what happened? The new fans, this new demographic didn't exist, because you tell yourself you exist, that you're the world, that you're the future. These insane people, they tell them that's who they are. They're the future. Everybody thinks like that. Let's get rid of the old guard. And they're not. They're a bunch of idiot children. That's exactly what. And why are they idiot children? Because they were given participation trophies. So, of course, that's the first reason it folded, is because it just wasn't working. Sales for Doctor Who magazine had absolutely plummeted. They plummeted down to about 16,000 copies a month, which is pretty darn good. But the only reason it's 16,000 is because it has 4,000 sales overseas. Once it gets to 12,000, that's cancellation, right? That's cancellation. Then it's not worth doing it. You don't make enough money. But it got down to there, and it's pretty much stayed there. I think that's the lowest it can go without it being cancelled. But the other reason they got rid of this, the other reason they got rid of the time team, By the way, the milkshake photo, exactly the same thing. It was a bunch of female editors that took over Marvel, and they did a photo like this, exactly the same, to show, look, we've taken over. We're here. We're new. We are comics. Yeah, you are. And what did you do to comics? You destroyed them. What did you do to Doctor Who magazine? You destroyed it. What did you do to Doctor Who? You destroyed it. I enjoy your participation trophies, you know, in the twisted wasteland of your incredible malfeasance, you know, incredible inability. But the other reason, which is without fail, this will always go down. One of them, apparently, one of the evil white men, I think. I really don't know, because I did a bit of research on this, but one of them was accused of sexual assault of somebody at a convention, I believe. And then it was dropped, but you know, they none of them ever said anything about it. None of them ever tried to cancel that person. No, and I don't even know who it was, right? None of them ever tried to cancel them. Why? Because they were aligned with them. But really, why? Really, why? It's because they were the people that Gareth Roberts described. So he's not even described that he's so brilliantly tied to that paragraph. They are evil they're evil and without merit in every single way possible. They're a blight on society, and I think they will literally cause the destruction of the world. I really do. You know, normally when kids get old, kids are like this, and then when they get older, life hits them in the face, and they have to shut up and do some work. This group won't do it. This group are just gonna let the world dissolve. That's why none of them want to go back to work after COVID. You know, they're like, oh, this is kind of nice. This is safe. Why? Because they have no virtue in any way, shape, or form, which is why they are huge virtue signalers. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.